Hello there and welcome to this webinar on human-computer interaction for AI systems design. Just waiting for the numbers to level as people are coming into the webinar, but they're looking to get to a steady pace, so we will get underway. Firstly, we wanted to thank you for showing an interest in this course and taking the time to attend this online session. This webinar is all about you and how this course can help you enhance your career and amplify your skills. It's important to highlight that today we have gathered professionals interested in human-computer interactions from all over the world. So thank you all for attending and welcome once more. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. This webinar is being recorded and you will receive a link to the recording in a follow-up email. You have all joined in listen-only mode. However, you do have the opportunity to submit questions by typing into the Q&A pane on the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation today. We'll collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. Should you experience any technical difficulties, please do let us know in the Q&A box and a member of the team will endeavour to help you. In the unlikely event we experience any issues, we will send out a message and restart the webinar. The presentation should last around 45 minutes and then we will answer any questions that have been submitted. At the end of the webinar today, please do take a couple of moments to complete a short survey where you can raise any further questions or feedback for us. So today we would like you to leave here informed, excited, and with complete insight into what your HCI learning experience will be. So on the screen now, you will see our agenda points. We will initially introduce you to the course, provide an overview of the content and structure, go through how this course can contribute to your career, explore your online learning experience, hear from some alumni and how they've enjoyed the course and how it's benefited them, and then finally answer any questions and discuss potential next steps. The University of Cambridge Online. So what makes us different from everybody else? Well, to begin with, all courses have been developed and are led by Cambridge academics. They are quality assessed by the Online Education Committee, consisting of senior Cambridge professors. We also offer weekly webinars with our course academics. These interactive sessions allow for direct contact with our course leads, in this case with Professor Per Ola Kristensson. We also provide specialist tutor support with a low ratio of learners to tutors. We also have a world-class learning management system that provides the best learning experience, and you will receive, upon successful completion, a University of Cambridge online certificate. We'll get to see an example of this in just a moment. Our learners are from more than 60 countries globally, offering a great opportunity to connect with professionals all around the world who have a similar interest and a similar background to yourselves. Finally, we have received highly positive learner feedback. 98% of learners across 16 of our courses in the last cohort rated their course good or excellent. As mentioned earlier, upon completion, learners will earn a certificate of achievement directly from the University of Cambridge Online and signed directly from the Pro Vice Chancellor. As you will see on the screen now, an example for you. You will also gain prestigious continuing professional development points and you'll be able to join our exclusive pass to our alumni network. Now, I'd like to introduce you to today's panel. First of all is myself. My name is Philip Perrin and I am an enrollment advisor here at Cambridge Advance Online. We also have Professor Per Ola Kristensson, our academic lead for the course, Human-Computer Interaction for AI Systems Design, and Emily Tammet-Patterson, Senior Learning Designer at Cambridge Advance Online. We will also be joined later by a pre-recorded video by Karina Kremin, a past learner from this course who will share her experience and how that has impacted her career. I'm now going to hand over to Professor Per Ola, our course lead, to introduce himself and the course.
Thank you, Philip. And hello, everyone. My name is Per Ola Kristensson, and I'm the lead academic for this course. I am a full professor in the chair of Interactive Systems Engineering in the Department of Engineering at the University of Cambridge. What I do there is that I lead the Intelligent Interactive Systems Group, which is a research group situated in the Information Engineering Division in the department. I am also a co-founder and co-director of a cross-disciplinary center called the Center for Human-Inspired Artificial Intelligence at the University of Cambridge, which actually encompasses all departments, all 120 departments in the university. My personal research interest is about designing intelligent interactive systems that basically enable people to be more creative, expressive, and satisfied in their daily lives. My PhD thesis was on gesture keyboard technology, which I co-invented a long time ago with my to-be PhD supervisor, Xiumin Jai, in 2001, 2002. In 2007, we did an IBM spin-out called ShapeWriter Inc. to commercialize this technology, where I was the director of engineering and co-founder, and I was doing this until we were successfully acquired by Nuance Communications Incorporated in 2010. Our app ShapeWriter was selected as the 8th best iPhone application by Time magazine in 2008 and won a Google Android ADC 50 developer in the inaugural year of their competition in the same year. Today, gesture keyboard technology, which you may know as swipe, gesture typing, and under other product names, is a ubiquitous and pervasive mobile text enter method. It's pre-installed on all Android and iPhone devices in the world, and I'm told that an estimated 300 million active users benefit from this technology every day. In 2013, I was recognized as an innovator under 35, the so-called TR35 award by MIT Technology Review, and appointed a member of the Royal Society of Edinburgh Young Academy of Scotland. In 2014, I won the Association for Computing Machinery User Interface Software and Technology Lasting Impact Award for gesture typing, and the Royal Society of Edinburgh Early Career Prize in Physical Sciences, the so-called Sir Thomas MacDougall Brisbane Medal. Academically, I serve as an associate editor, so I basically oversee peer review of 2 major journals in the field. The first one is called ACM Transactions on Computer-Human Interaction, which is the major journal to publish human-computer interaction research results in the world. And the other one is called ACM Transactions on Interactive Intelligence Systems, which is another major research journal, but it's primarily focused on human-AI interaction. Additionally, I served as the technical program co-chair for what's called ACM CHI. So CHI is a bit of a misnomer. It's a very old acronym. It stands for Computer-Human Interaction because it's a very old conference. It's been going for more than 40 years. I was the technical program co-chair for 2023 when I was in Germany. It's the major academic conference and publication venue in human-computer interaction with over 4,000 academics attending. In addition to academics, I've also worked with a number of businesses and done a number of entrepreneurial activities since gesture typing. I co-invented dwell-free eye typing, which allows non-speaking individuals with motor disabilities to quickly write using eye gaze. That was turned into a successful commercial product with Tobii Dynavox, a major supplier of accessible technology in this area. More recently, I have worked with Meta on developing the typing system for the Oculus Quest Pro headset. So if you use an Oculus Quest Pro headset and use the keyboard, I was part of developing that. One thing it does, it allows you to type in thin air by doing 10-finger touch typing in thin air and having the system automatically translating the people's finger movements into the intended text. I've also been widely involved with a range of academic organizations. I think most primarily ACM SIGCHI, so that's the special chapter of ACM focusing on human-computer interaction, but also IEEE, so that's the Institute of Electronics and Electrical Engineers. In particular, the IEEE chapter focusing on virtual reality and augmented reality. With this course, I hope that learners have a positive experience and the feeling that you can actually change the future for the better. Because human AI systems, we actually do this. For instance, by allowing repetitive tasks to be automated or heavily mechanical tasks, but also by amplifying our input or generally amplifying the human condition, allowing us to be more creative and expressive and providing better support so we can make better and more informed decisions. However, to benefit from human AI interaction, we need to be very clear about what the problem is, what we're actually trying to solve, and we need to follow a systematic approach. It may sound like following a systematic approach is a bit counterintuitive, doesn't that stifle creativity? But actually all research indicates it's the other way around. Systematic design methods actually open up for us, for so many things for us to consider and enables us to be more creative. And they provide a structure for design, requirements, risk analysis, verification and validation, and so on and so forth. So speaking about this, now let's have an overview of the course. In the Human-Computer Interaction for AI Systems Design course, we will learn how to practically model and design human AI system. We will try to master automation, user experience, and risk management, among many things. Some of the main course outcomes are the following 3. Number 1, craft a problem statement inspiring human AI collaboration. That means developing solutions that harmonize human AI interaction learn to craft compelling problem statements, inspiring collaboration between humans and machines, and designing automated solutions based on that. A second objective is to identify and mitigate risks within the human AI framework to ensure your system meets diverse requirements and perfect the art of verification and validation in order to mitigate risk within the human AI framework. And risk includes developer risk, by the way. A third objective is to bridge the gap between demands and AI capabilities, so what we can actually supply. And this course provides learners with a set of tools that allow them to design AI systems to meet users' demands according to today's best practices in a future-proof way. This way, learners can solve complex problems by combining AI capabilities with a deep understanding of user behaviors and needs. So now let's have a quick poll so we can see how familiar you are with the subject matter of this course. Please choose if you are familiar with the subject matter. You can choose from not familiar at all, somewhat familiar, moderately familiar, very familiar, or extremely familiar. We are going to leave a few seconds so that everyone has some time to reply. All right. Well, it looks like 21% of you are not familiar at all with the materials, 37% are somewhat familiar, 31% are moderately familiar, 8% are very familiar, and we have 4% who are extremely familiar with the material. Well, this is great because the course offers advanced training, and we're going to see that in the module section right now. So the course is structured into 8 modules. So the first module is basically what we mean by human AI interaction and what it enables. So we're establishing basic terms and concepts. And we also teach people the very important principle of deriving a so-called solution neutral problem statement. So we formulate a very good, well-defined design task. In module number 2, we introduce function modeling. So we teach people systematic methods of explaining what the system is supposed to do in terms of functions and how these functions interrelate. In module 3, we build on this functional framework to apply the types and level of automation framework, among other things, to reason in an informed way about automation can and cannot do, and what are the risks and capabilities that go along with a particular automation solution. In module 4, we discuss interactivity. In particular, we discuss mixed initiative interaction, which means both an automated service and a user can take initiative for interaction. And we talk about human AI teaming and partnerships. In module 5, we talk about how to allow users to understand and interpret AI. And we also talk about high-dimensional information visualization, because it's impossible to understand AI without having some sense of the underpinning training data. In module 6, we revisit interaction, but this time from the perspective of what's called shared control. So how to share control in an informed way between a human and machine, and how to share control between a human and machine in such a way that the human retains what is known as agency or locus of control. The sense that users feel that the actions they do with the system, that the users are in control of the system or can positively affect the system's outcomes. In Module 7, we talk about governance of human AI systems. So this involves ethics and other considerations, but it also involves a very concrete and tangible way of viewing systems in terms of risk management from an engineering perspective. So we discuss how to do what's called system mapping, describing a human AI system in an informed way. So then we can allow a lot of different established risk assessment frameworks to be applied to this description of the system. And I think this is a very good way to do risk assessment of human AI systems. And in Module 8, we talk about evaluating human AI systems. So we talk about verification, so how to ensure requirements have been met, but also importantly, validation, ensuring that the human AI system we have built is actually fit for purpose. Further, we talk about designing for user adoption and designing for user appropriation, because people basically do whatever they need to do, to achieve their goals. So systems have to be designed flexible so people can appropriate these systems. If people cannot appropriate a human AI system, they will reject it and not use it. All right, regarding assessment, you will need a minimum grade of 70% to pass the course. This is composed of participation, which is 40%, So you'll gain marks for active participation in various interactive activities and assignments throughout the course. And then we have 60% that is assigned to your final project and assignments. So you'll be assessed on 6 end of module assignments, each of which requires you to design an aspect of a problem report related to that module's content. So gradually, as you take the course, you will build up a really nice design brief on how to actually design a human AI system. And you'll also be graded on a final product report. Due to the high-level systems thinking approach this course will take, it is recommended for professionals operating at a senior or managerial level, for instance, senior product developers, product design managers, lead system designers, and directors of user interfaces and user experiences. This course is applicable to a wide range of industries. I made sure of that, and it does not require deep technical expertise to participate in. Professionals managing product design, development, and user experience in the following industries with an interest in applying AI to improve products or processes or services will find this course valuable. So for instance, manufacturing, technology, financial services, including insurance and banking, healthcare, but perhaps especially in the production of medical devices, and consumer and commercial products. In terms of past learners, we can see where we come from, and they have the following background. So about 41% have a design and user experience background, 13% have an engineering and technology background, about 11% have a management and leadership background, 4% come from education and research, and about 9% have a miscellaneous background. After you complete the course, you will have gained some advantages, as it will enable you to access the following: in-demand roles. You can transition into some very demanded positions, for instance, like a user experience, a user interface designer, AI interaction specialist, or some form of a user researcher. In terms of industry impact, you can lead innovative products in technology, gaming, healthcare, and more, improving the user experiences with AI. In terms of skill advancement, you can enhance your portfolio with cutting-edge HCI techniques, making you a prime candidate for leadership roles in tech design and development. And finally, there are networking opportunities because you gain access to a global community of professionals and experts in HCI and AI for unparalleled career networking. Now, I would like to know, please, what you would like to achieve by taking this course. There is a new poll popping up. So please choose if what you're looking for is professional development, career shift, starting your career, or lifelong learning. All right, it looks like most of you are looking for professional development, 80%, and that's great. But whatever your goal is, this course can help you. And the best evidence is actually the progression reported by previous students. So let's look at how the course has impacted past learners' career progression. So 92% have applied their newly acquired knowledge and skills to their current role. 59% have applied their newly acquired knowledge or skills to a new role or project. 92% feel more confident in their current role. 92% feel more confident to apply for a new role in their current field. And 25% are considering a career move into a different field. And now I hand over to Phil, who will be presenting a past learner of this course.
Thank you, Per Ola. Yeah, as mentioned earlier, we are fortunate to be joined today by Karina Kremin, a past learner from this course, who's going to share her experience and how the course has impacted her career. She's not able to join live, but as mentioned, she will share her experience via a pre-recorded video that we will show you now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karina. The most valuable takeaway was being able to assess whether AI is a suitable route for a defined solution-free problem statement. So the key takeaway here for me is twofold, really. So first, it's about ensuring that a valid problem exists for users. And next, it's about assessing multiple options, really, for solving that problem. And ultimately questioning the validity of using AI, so weighing up lots of elements such as cost, implementation, and ethical impacts. And these particularly spoke to me as I wanted to find tools and processes to ensure I didn't blindly jump on the latest bandwagon, but I wanted to really equip myself with the world-class strategic thinking to be confident that I was making the right decisions for the right reasons, and most importantly, having a strong awareness of the power of governance when it comes to human AI interaction. And some practical advice would be to read the course literature for that week ahead of the live sessions if you can. Of course, only if you can. This includes the first session. I didn't realise I could access the course before the first session, so I had a little catching up to do for the first couple of weeks. And so I was a week behind schedule from the offset, which led to a couple of extra late nights. Obviously, nobody really wants that. But I was able to catch up over time, so that wasn't an issue at all. And so regardless, I could always follow those live sessions and discussions, even if I hadn't read the course material beforehand. So the structure works regardless of that. In terms of aspects of the course that I found most engaging or beneficial, I would say it's mainly the format. So I think the format was really, really fantastic. I could genuinely access the course materials in my own time. And the live sessions were so well structured. Per is absolutely fascinating. And he has so much experience in this field that it was so interesting to hear him and his perspective every single week. In fact, I genuinely missed those live sessions. And if you ever have a podcast, I'd definitely subscribe to that. Excuse me. I also found that carrying out the coursework and meeting new people, having live discussions and written discussions really just clicked and ignited something again in my brain, and something I haven't done since I was at university. So there's something really, really amazing about the analytical and strategic thinking and the discussion forums and putting myself out of my comfort zone that has actually altered my day-to-day work and how I approach work as well. So I felt a lot more confident in work conversations and also more empowered to make the right decisions, especially when it comes to AI.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much to Karina. Always useful to hear some of the input that past learners have achieved from the course. I'm going to pass over to Emily, who's popped up there to talk about the learning design and experience now.
Thanks so much, Philip. As you just heard, I mean, wow, what a testimonial. Everything I'm going to say, you've already just heard from Karina, but I'd love to get into it a little bit further. So our courses are, of course, built with you, the busy professional, in mind. As you just heard, they're self-paced. You can access the content in your own time. We use the latest research and learning design methodology to ensure a rigorous, high-quality learning experience, which teaches you actionable and transferable skills that you can then take forward into your personal and professional contexts. So, how do we do that? Well, first, we use active learning and application. And what that means is we know that when you go away, it's not enough just to have some facts in your head. You need to be able to do things in your daily context. So we don't leave you reading page after page of text or watching lots of long, boring lecture videos. Instead, we give you a snippet of information, and then we embed short activities that allow you to check your understanding, make sure that you've actually grasped what you need to do, apply your new skills, and then get some feedback. Do you need to revise? Are you ready to go on? That way you are informed as to your own progress. We also make use, as you heard from Karina, of social learning. We know from researchers that learners learn as much from each other as they do from the expert in the room. So we leverage that through interaction tools like the discussion boards. We have a whiteboarding program called Miro integrated into the virtual learning environment. We also use a social annotation tool called Hypothesis to turn documents into interactive discussions. And then all of this is moderated by our specially trained course tutors. They don't just monitor and contribute to in-course interactions, but they're also available for support through the inbuilt messaging system called Canvas Inbox. Now, as you heard from Karina, the majority of the content is asynchronous. That means self-paced. You can work through the material on your own schedule within the allotted time frame of the week. And again, that's because we know as a busy professional learner, your time is valuable and you need to be able to slot things in when you have a chance. Finally, you get those weekly live sessions with your peers, your tutor, and Per Ola himself. That's your chance to get clarification on something tricky, take a deeper dive into a particular topic, and talk to other like-minded professionals. These live sessions are not mandatory, and they are recorded and posted for you to watch again in case you can't attend, or if you just need to look back on a discussion that you didn't catch all of. Now, we're going to show you Canvas, which is our virtual learning environment. We're going to play a short video to give you a flavor of the course design. So again, this is a best-in-class virtual learning environment called Canvas. It's a very clear platform to navigate and engage with the content. And here you can see everything's very dynamic on the page. We have custom designed course illustrations. All of these allow you to listen to Per Ola explaining the diagram. Here, again, you can check your understanding. We have lots of little exercises integrated so that you can see how much do I already know and how much do I need to revise and learn on my own. Everything's brought to life within the virtual learning environment. So again, you're not just sitting, reading, click, 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 read some more. Everything is very clear and very easy to navigate. And it's broken down into bite-sized pieces. And again, here you can see the work of our great media team. The goal here is to, again, allow you to integrate this content into your busy schedule. And here you can see, again, lots of little exercises. That's how research shows that we learn best. Learn a little bit, apply again, learn some more. So now that you've seen all of this, we didn't get a chance to show you the social aspect of Canvas, which is to say it has a whole page where you can populate your learner profile with your image if you want to, don't have to, or with your bio, your social networking links. That facilitates further networking, which we know is important to a professional audience like you. So if this all looks good, let's go back over to Phil and talk about how you can join us.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you very much, Emily. And so now you have all this information. What are the next steps? Well, personally, I'd love to connect with anyone who does have further questions or would like to dive deeper into the contents of what was covered today. Please scan the QR code that you can see on the screen now to enroll into the course for the July or any later runs, or book a personalized call with myself. Calls with myself only take a few moments to schedule, and calls usually take under 15 minutes to cover everything that we need to. You can also contact me via email. My email address is philip.parent@cambridge.org, as on the screen, or via the webpage. You can contact us as well. Course enrollment can be done right online, where you can pay by card or request a quotation. Our next course is set to start on the 21st of July. The enrollment deadline is the 14th of July, just 1 week before the course starts, with a future date this year starting 13th of October as well. Now, if you haven't already, please do use the Q&A section to send in your questions about the course. We're going to go through some of those now and answer them live. So just bear with me and I will pull some questions up. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, we've got some good questions coming through. The first one here, one for you, Per Ola. What are the main differences and challenges in systems design that you have observed since the rise of generative AI?
I think we were able to use AI in very sophisticated ways a long time ago. Like if you read like weather reports even since the late 1990s, weather reports have been automatically generated in terms of text narratives, for instance. However, to do that back in the day, first of all, it didn't work as well as it does today, and you needed considerable expertise. So one thing that has happened now is that there's a lower barrier to entry, so there's more potential to use it. The other thing that has happened is that LLMs are not great actually for decision support on its own, but it's possible to make them be very good. But they are very good as a messy interface because they can understand messy input like human language, right? Which is somewhat structured but not fully formal. And they can also generate and translate information to people in a messy way, to natural language we feel is human-like and understandable. And that opens up a lot of interesting ways of using these systematic design techniques we've been using in the human AI field for many years. So this is why I think in the terms of the web system, the techniques, but I'm teaching there, for instance, like functional analysis systems technique and risk assessment and system mapping, they are quite likely to stand the test of time and be relevant for many years in the future. They've been relevant for a very long time. And in the live lectures, we then revisit this, right? Because we pick a very timely topic in the live session, and we do what's called a group task. We split you into small groups, breakout groups on Zoom, and then you discuss them, and we call people back, and then you get to see how to apply this sort of reasoning and thinking on something that is very timely. So yeah, it's a great question, and I think it just tells us that we need to be even more systematic than we were before because there are so many additional variables to consider.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Per Ola. I think that was a pretty good answer for that one, and perhaps a good question to have started with. Moving on, some general questions here as well. But this question, perhaps Per Ola and Emily, you might be able to add as well. With the AI landscape changing so quickly, will the course change per run, or will it remain consistent? So maybe you can just touch on how we confront that.
Yes. So the way we do that is that actually it ties into the previous answer, I suppose, right? So in the web system, I try to make it so that the points made in the web system, they will last. And in the live sessions, they are live sessions, and I literally give a little mini lecture every live session. So they are continuously updated and bring in new topics. So for instance, I can give you one example. So one thing that has happened recently is this idea of agentic AI. So AI agents is actually a very old idea. People have thought about this for at least 30 years and various things, but now they're becoming quite compelling. In fact, I do some of this research myself. So then we bring in agentic AI into the live sessions rather than updating the principles and the frameworks in the web system that, again, are supposed to be able to withstand the test of time.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that. Question here, and maybe just to touch on again. So is there any expected entry level of knowledge? I know we kind of touched on it within the course, but it's always good, I suppose, just to reiterate if there's a level of knowledge that you expect before confronting the course. Yeah.
I think some university education is probably advisable just to be able to, grasp the concepts. We do not require any deep quantitative skills. There are some calculation-based exercises, but there is scaffolding to help people through that because I do realize when doing this that people come from a variety of backgrounds and maths might be a bit rusty. So we're not very deep on the mathematical topics. Sometimes I use it to make a point, but very scaffolding to help everybody along for these steps. So I would say any sort of relevant university education would be applicable, and that includes, for instance, I'm well familiar with humanities because at my Cambridge college, half my colleagues are from the humanities and social sciences, and I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to enjoy this course.
Yeah, absolutely. And that comes up a lot in my own conversations, and I kind of work on both sides of things, having either the academic or the professional context in which you can apply the learning. Really important when you're going through the course that you're going to cover that knowledge, but you're going to constantly apply it. So having some of that background, whether it is professional experience or whether it is from the academic side of things, is super important and incredibly helpful. But nothing specific that we list as formal entry requirements for the course throughout. A question here that was around kind of assessment and kind of to what level that it's hands-on. I don't know if you could give an example of perhaps what that end project ends up looking like in a little bit more detail, if that's okay.
Yeah, so the aim is basically that. So I used to teach something called design case studies. It was a module, actually, a course in the Department of Engineering for fourth-year engineers. And what we do there is we give them 2 case studies and they have to develop a complete product design specification. By the end of this course, by doing these weekly exercises, you end up with a design document that is at the level where I think it depends on your ambition as well, but it definitely has the potential to be pitchable as a startup idea or to go to your vice president in your company or whoever that might be and say, we should do this, implement this product or service. So it is at the level like the step right before you actually hire people in to implement it. So, and that covers, for instance, what is the solution neutral problem statement? What would the user say? What are the key functions we have to realize? What are our options? What is the competitive landscape? How do we assess risk? And how do we verify and validate the system? And how do we design for appropriation? How do we design the system in such a way that people can actually achieve their goals, whatever they might be, upon deployment? And how can we study it throughout deployment? So you will generate a document that is at the level that you can essentially pitch it to someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah, really helpful. I mean, the application and the takeaway in terms of the project at the end is super important to highlight. Perfect. A question here. I will read it out in full. It's a little long. Hi, Per Ola. Many thanks for this session. It's very valuable, and I'm thinking of pursuing the course. My question is, would you be open to discussing how insights from the course might be structured into a PhD proposal in human-centered AI design or interactive systems? And does the University of Cambridge allow privately funded or self-initiated doctoral students in this field? A long one, but
I can tackle it. So when it comes to, I can talk generally about how PhDs work in Cambridge. And basically there is a set deadline you apply, you have to check on the website. And the way it does is they are all considered without any financial consideration whatsoever. So strictly on merit. And after that, whoever is admitted is admitted. Once people are admitted, if we apply before a set deadline, we're automatically enrolled in a wide range of scholarship competitions. So these are internal scholarship competitions, for instance, by Cambridge Trust. So depending on who the candidate is, they might be eligible for some of these or all of them, and so on and so forth. And this is all ranked, and I have nothing to do with this, by the way. There are like a range of committees to do this, and they rank, and then if people are highly ranked, they also get funding. So being admitted to a PhD is not the same as being admitted and funded for a PhD. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's how that works, and the best way to do that is to contact a prospective supervisor and discuss this. From memory, I think the deadline might be in beginning of December, but don't quote me on this, and this might depend on where you want to apply in the university, because people are interested in AI are all over the university, not just in my department. In terms of this course, yeah, I'd say this course is definitely useful. I mean, what I can say is that we have tutors, right? So who help you. And all the tutors say they learn a lot from being a tutor on this course for this course material. And these tutors already have a PhD or are pursuing a PhD. So that's telling you something. So clearly there is some useful information taught in this course. I think some things it teaches that is useful is solution neutral problem statements. So be clear about the problem you're trying to solve. Requirements and what constitutes a good requirement, function models, like understanding what we need to do in functional terms, not just jumping to a solution, and also basic theories about interaction and interactivity, shared control, and methods for risk management and so forth. So it's definitely useful, but I wouldn't say it's a prerequisite for applying to do a PhD in this area, but it definitely would help, yeah. In terms of your own, I don't think it would help you the probability of getting accepted, but I think it would help you as a future researcher. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, thank you, Per Ola. Yeah, some really good insight there. A question here that just feeding back to live sessions that happy to take, and in terms of interactions. So within the course, that there is kind of a hierarchy of Per Ola as your course lead, who will lead a weekly live session, and then interaction with tutors, and there'll be a small group that are assigned to per tutor to ensure that there's in time for individual feedback and questions throughout the course. They're also involved within the discussion forums each week to give feedback and to encourage those discussions as well. So hopefully that answers that question. We don't have anybody externally that comes into the courses. This is very much who we've assigned to the course and very much Per Ola's course in that sense. A question around suitability, perhaps. So I work in developer experience, so my users are developers. Is this the right course for me to take? Probably one for you, Per Ola. I mean, there's probably no concerns in that one. I think in terms of what you will explore on the course and you will bring your own context to it. But is there any concerns that you would raise?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, yeah, thank you, Philip. Yeah, so it is interesting because so one thing I teach people actually when I teach human-computer interaction in the department as well. And one thing I have to teach people is that engineers and developers are also users, right? Right. So there's actually research, for instance, about APIs, application programming interface, what makes them usable and understandable. So there is a lot in that area as well. In fact, I have a PhD student who works part-time at Apple at the moment, and he's specifically looking into understanding the role of AI in software testing. So not to replace software testers with AI, because that does not work, at least not for what we're trying to do at Apple. But how to understand how software tester professionals appropriate AI, use it and adopt it to make their testing better, and how to change the systems to basically allow them to use AI to amplify software testing and get, for instance, better test coverage. So I don't think we have had many people focusing on developers per se. I would gonna be honest about that, but yeah, absolutely, the course would work for that area.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, just scrolling through. Still got lots of questions open. So just trying to cover as much as we can in the time. Perhaps a simple and straightforward one. Is prompt engineering covered in the course?
We talked about prompts in the web system, in the course as well, and in the bulletin boards and through the exercises people use it, but we do not specifically go into prompt engineering, mostly because prompt engineering is not a proper field and it's subject to dramatic change. So we don't go into that specifically in detail, but it is indirectly covered in the course. But yeah, we're not going to teach you how to optimize your prompt for a particular purpose.
Yeah, fantastic. Are there any particular technology platforms or design tools, i.e. Figma, that you use?
Yes, actually. So so the course itself, and Emily can probably talk about what's supplied with the course, right? And then we also point people to a lot of external resources, so different visualization tools and so on, in particular for module 5, which is about understanding and interpreting AI, where we also talk about high dimensional data visualization, because you can't understand AI if you don't understand the data. So you need to sort of make sense of the data, but the data is high dimensional. So how do you do this? So we talk about information visualization, and the tutors point people to various external tools. And I think Emily can talk more about the specific tools that the web system provides.
Yeah, thanks, Per Ola. So when you log into Canvas, everything is integrated into Canvas. So you don't have to install any additional software on your machine. So the programs that we plug into Canvas, they're called LTIs, are Canvas, obviously Canvas itself, which is web access. There is a mobile app, but you don't need to put an app on your laptop or even on your mobile if you don't want to, because it is all web access. And then integrated into Canvas are Miro and Hypothesis, and then some of the small activities, we use a program called H5P. Again, it's all integrated into Canvas. Those are the only technologies we use within Canvas, and then live sessions are run through Zoom, the link of which is posted again into Canvas. And you can access that Zoom link via whatever web browser you like. There are some requirements in terms of just your internet speed. So we need you to have sufficient internet speed to be able to watch videos. And those are all listed on our website. Phil's going to give you the link in a little bit. But those are all the technologies that we use. And those are the things that you're required to interact with from your own point of view. Now, there's a couple of optional activities where you can use, for example, Tableau as a data analysis tool. And we point you at some other things that you might want to explore, but they're not mandatory. So hopefully that answers the question.
Just to follow up on that one, Emily, just one that popped up. So it says, so I assume the LTIs are more conceptually taught rather than learning those particular tools. Is that correct?
Yeah, so LTI is just a fancy term for learning technology integration, which just means that it's a learning technology we can plug into Canvas on the back end, and we can actually take participation marks, and it's a technical designation. You don't need to learn a new technology because they're all designed, as most technologies are now, to be intuitive from a UX interface perspective. So we're not asking you to go learn how to design AI prompts within Miro. We're using Miro to help you map workflows and interact with like function structures and things of that nature. So there are more tools that allow you to do little exercises, if that makes sense. Phil, do you think did I explain that well enough?
I think so, yeah. I think it's covered. But yeah, do shout out if there's any other questions, or do reach out after the webinar as well. And I'm happy to go into a bit more detail with those ones if needed. A question here around networking opportunities that we could perhaps just reiterate as well in terms of during the course and afterwards. So absolutely, as part of the learning design, social learning is a big part of that, and connecting with other students. There will be a pre-module before you start the course as well, where you'll have an opportunity to introduce yourself and your background and connect with students before you start the course. And then each week there will be some formal activities that you complete in which you will need to interact with others as you progress through. So great opportunities there to kind of see different backgrounds and different industries and different understandings of the learning in terms of their own professional context. Once you've completed the course, we will also invite you to join our alumni network. That is for everybody who has completed the course, past and present. So there will be an opportunity to continue those connections in a environment on LinkedIn, we will also be able to continue to offer value and keep in touch as well. So I hope that answers that pretty well. A question here just off the back again of perhaps comments we made. I know time is running out, so we'll do as much as we can. I am a senior UX professional in data visualization. How advanced is the data visualization section?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So that is part of a module, right? So I would say not very advanced, but if you know data visualization, you may know about parallel coordinates plots and radar charts. So we use these sort of information visualization techniques to get people an idea about how high-dimensional data visualization works. And also in the web system, there is a specific exercise around a gesture recognizer. It's basically telling you that the way you design the algorithm can dramatically shape what you can actually meaningfully visualize to users. But it's not a data visualization course. That would be another 8 weeks easily, right? There's a lot to say about that topic. But we do go into the basics of information visualization, and we focus on a couple of high-dimensional information visualization techniques, like parallel coordinates plots, for instance.
Yeah, fantastic. And perhaps one to finish on, although it could be a potential thesis in itself, how can AI interface design be adapted to serve low resource or multilingual environments, especially in rural Africa where digital literacy and infrastructure are limited? And perhaps a comment in terms of how could this course could be beneficial in those aspects.
Sure, that's a fair question. Just before then, I just see there's a question about NDA and so on. So nothing is confidential in the course. So people aren't sharing any confidential information, and you shouldn't share any confidential information. So there is no NDA or anything like that is necessary. Just a quick answer to that question. And yeah, Africa is interesting actually. So the Center for Human-Inspired Artificial Intelligence, which I'm co-director of, has people who work in these domains. I do not. I will readily admit I know a lot of these people, but I am not one of those people who are an expert in those areas. So, and that also answers the question on PhD proposals and supervisors. If you go into Center for Human-Inspired Artificial Intelligence and you look at the advisory board there, you will see the names of lots of Cambridge professors with an interest. And it's a field. It's called ICT for Development. And there are at least two subgroups or sub-research groups in the human-computer interaction field who are actively researching this. In fact, when I was a technical program co-chair for CHI, the biggest conference in HCI in Germany in 2023, our capstone speaker was actually somebody from Kenya who was working on using AI and information technology to create innovative services there. I would say this course teaches you not specifically how to do that, but it teaches you the tools that are required to follow a systematic approach to come up with any solution for any area in any domain. Sounds grand, but it's actually true. So things we teach, for instance, is things like user research, understanding what is the solution neutral problem statement, what is a well-defined design task, what are the constraints which applies, but also what are the workarounds and how do we design for change, right? And how do we design for the fact that we do not know what all end users want to do in the future, right? So how do we design systems that are flexible enough that people can use them, even if they come in and we don't have a full understanding of their needs, wants, values, and so on and so forth. So I can see it being useful, but we don't directly tackle that problem. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, thank you. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to move on, and hopefully if there are any questions that we've missed, or if anybody does need any further information, then please do get in touch and reach out. But yeah, thank you very much for joining today's session, and my apologies again if we haven't had time to answer your question today. We will endeavour to get back to you on any questions or topics that we haven't been able to address. As a reminder, there will be a short survey when you exit the webinar, which will give you the opportunity to ask any further questions if you haven't already. Please do take a couple of moments to provide us with some feedback, and look out for a follow-up email later this week in which we'll share the recording of the webinar and some further useful links that have been mentioned today. Thank you all very much.